disconnected on cue? Nice. Okay, let's get a light on. Oh, look, I have another one. I have another one right there. All right, well, too bad it's not configured. I mean, that's sort of somewhat helpful, but we need it to be already pre-configured, right? Let's come down here. Let's give you a little bit of a view of what I'm doing. All right, you come down here. Little propane heater. Maybe we could fire that up. Okay. So that's connected. Where does it go? Right down here. So we'll plug some display and get the mouse and keyboard. It's pretty clean. What's going on with this? Watch, it'll just like fire up and work just fine. Part of me feels like I should take off the fan in it, because it's probably doesn't really work. All right, I'll take you apart. It's not long enough for me. Okay. You're just a cold cord, it's all just doesn't, it's like all, it won't go straight. Okay. Turn on the monitor. Does the monitor go on? Monitors might not be plugged in. I don't have a spot. What can I unplug? Goodness, those are the servers. These are all needed. We're out of plugs. What is this? What's this right there? What are those? Okay. We can unplug one of those. I don't know what they go to. They probably go to some switches. We'll plug it back in. It's not needed right now. This, plug it in. Hello, monitor. This is running its own graphics. There we go. You warmed up yet? Okay. Let's see what it is. Okay, so CPU fan not detected. I don't really care. I don't care about the CPU fan. Oh, goodness. I told you the CPU fan was going out, and now it, let's see what we can do. I don't need the CPU fan. The CPU fan hasn't been working for like months. I don't care, just thermal throttle. I don't need to go that fast. You're just running the audio. You just have to be there for the audio. And how do I take this thing off? I don't know. I'm just going to yank it all off. Well, there's some screws. Maybe that's what I do. Should we just take those screws off? I was gonna I don't know, we can short it out. Just short it. Need better organizing and cable management and more zip ties. That's right. You said twisty ties, but I would go with zip ties. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty good. You know how things kind of start out, and most of this is power cords. The Ethernet's halfway decent. But, yeah, it would be. There could use some help. You're right. Sometimes things get organized and sometimes things don't. You get all organized and then you need to add something else to it. I need to add this other cable. Ah! I don't know if that helps as far as, does that take off anything? We undid those screws just because we could. I think it pops off. I think this pops off. So instead of using the knife, let's use the flat part, the flat screwdriver for a prying tool. That way we can save our band-aids. It's a good idea. Okay, looks like it does need to go off. It did need those. Okay, so the CPU fan. It said it didn't like it was complaining about the CPU fan. CPU fan's right there. What do I want to do? Take off that standoff. Because what we want, I mean, I could get it to boot if I pushed F11, but what I needed to do is I just needed to boot up and just ignore that. Maybe there's a BIOS setting to just ignore the CPU fan. Because in this weather, I don't even need it. Or we could get the CPU fan working again. I guess let's just keep tearing this apart. I think if I disconnect the CPU fan, it's still going to complain that it doesn't have a CPU fan. That's my conundrum. It's like I needed to, I could get that, and then maybe if there's a BIOS bypass or something, that would be good. There's a nice pretty screw. Look at that. It's a big long one. It's a fancy screw. Yes, I could. That's a good. That would work. For now, I don't think the CPU fan's gonna last out there at the pond. So I really need just one like a fanless PC. It doesn't have to do much. It's just a way of converting the audio into Ethernet and sending it to the server using an Ethernet protocol. I don't know what the condition is in that, but I'm sure it will not last, because this one didn't last. Ooh, that's stiff. That's way stiff. Wow. That sounds horrible. That sounds horrible. Okay, well here's disconnecting the CPU fan right there. We can blow on it. That'll help. Oh goodness. Okay, I think this is why, yeah, that's the Wi-Fi antennas on the top of there. That's what your old CPU fan sounded like? Yeah, this one's not turning. I mean, we're probably better off not having it plugged in, but I think I like having all this mass attached to it, because at least that can help cool the PC, cool it. Just gotta loosen it up. It's sounding better already. After a few more cycles, it's gonna spin great. Yeah, I'm sure the bearing is just shot in it. Sounds like a bearing. WD-40. Yeah, just spray the whole thing in WD-40. That'll do it. There, this might as well just rub my screwdriver all over it. Okay, we don't need the Wi-Fi. Just wanted to get rid. Oh well, I don't know. I'm just trying to. What do I want to plug this thing back in and test it. Which way did it go? Oh no. Yeah, we must have gone one of these ways. There we go. There we go. That's how it goes back in. So, without putting it all back, let's just go ahead and fire it up again. And we'll dive into the BIOS. I don't think we're going to be able to just trick it. It is booting without me pushing the button, so that was one thing I needed. It was just to boot it without pushing the button or anything. Is that the power? That's the headphone. Alright, let's see what it says. Okay, so is there like an escape, or is it F2? What gets me to the BIOS? That's what I want. That's not what I want. So I think it'll boot up. F1. I tried the space-time continuum back. Okay, did we get it? I think we're going into the BIOS. No, it said push F1 to boot. We're just booting. Okay. Well, at least we know it works. It boots. We can just wait for it to boot up. Come on. Oh, it's waiting for the network. Okay, don't do that. I'll try the... I'll push it. Okay, maybe F8. No, delete. Delete could be it. Delete. F8. Escape. See, we got an Intel Celeron. 1.4 gigahertz. Like, I don't think, why does this thing even need a fan? It's gonna be fine. It's the memory that's gonna hurt. Okay, let's try escape. Faster, faster, faster! Startup menu. It's going. It's gonna go there. Startup menu. Come on. That's what I want. Delete. Maybe F2. Mouse doesn't do anything, of course. Well, I don't know yet. I got an i7, the same type of PC. Wow. That's kind of small for an i7. I guess they put i7s in laptops. It doesn't mean, I mean, like the i7, you're like, it's an i7. Well, but what kind? I mean, it's a desktop PC, a little like USB stick. Doesn't mean anything anymore. Did we try F8 before? IBM 286? Now you're talking. Ooh. Do you have the 2800 baud modem too? That one's good. I've only got the 1200. Hi Mons. What button do we need to push on this thing to get into the BIOS? That's what we're trying to figure out. It's bigger than your desk. You gotta have a good... I can just... Okay, diagnostics. Are we getting into diagnostics? See, it changed right there. It's saying diagnostics. F10. Okay, F10. I haven't tried... I've tried delete. Delete didn't do it. Let's try F10. This is an HP, so whatever HP does. Setup. It says we're going into setup. And maybe if I, from there, if I put F1, maybe it'll boot into setup. That's it. That was the magic. Okay, so, I don't know. Storage, no. Security, no. Power, thermal. Could be thermal. CPU fan speed, NA. That's exactly what I want. Yes. F10 escape. F10. Oh, that's F9. Power on options. BIOS power on. We can look at that. No. Bus options. No. Device options. Num-lock state on power. Ugh. Multiprocessor enable. Alright, those are probably fine. Thermal. F10. Maybe just as we go... Device configuration. This is all storage, so we'll just see if we did anything by just going in there. Maybe that. No! I don't care about the CPU fan. No, I don't want. I just boot. Okay, what do we do? We need a little thing that will just tap on the pin so that it like thinks there's a CPU fan going. Right, we can see what's on that one. Or what we can do, well, in the hardware, it might be different hardware thing. Okay. know it's not gonna last. Whatever we do is not gonna last. So I wanna, this thing's too, we can see if we've like done anything by spinning on the CPU fan. Maybe we fixed it. Okay, which way does this go back? This is like a puzzle. I should just get rid of those. No, no. There. Isn't that what I tried before? That's what I tried before, it feels like. It's like the USB connections. Alright, we're just going to power this on and just see what the CPU fan does. Well, it is spinning now. Maybe it just needed some WD-40. Because it probably works. It's probably going. It's probably all booted up. Asking it. Just needed 2 spins. So ridiculous. Okay. All right. So. Okay. Maybe. I'd love to use some air on it. Let's see. What air do I have? I think I've got something. I think I have something. I'll show you. I'll show you my air for it. But we're gonna have to open up the garage. We're gonna give this the biggest blast of air that it's ever seen. Gotta get that Wi-Fi connector out of the way. All right, we'll even zoom in. Should we zoom in close? That's good. That's good. See this thing take off. You're about to see it take off so big, so what a big blast of air it's gonna get. Plug your ears. You better plug your ears, because I'm about to plug something in. Look at that. It's a plug. It's not a can of air. It's a plug. Now let me just find the little... just a second. I've lost the piece. Where are you? Ah, there it is. I found it. I found it. I'm going to plug it in. All right, it's plugged in. Make sure it's dusted off. Your ears plugged. think it's cleaned off. What do you think? That's a can of air. It's wonderful. That's how we do it. That's how we dust off our computers at the farm. There we go. I think it's clean. Now I'm gonna go close that door. It's kind of a little chilly. I was warm and getting warm, and now I'm cold. Let's see how it spins. At least it doesn't have any dust on it anymore. Oh, did we get a bunch of gifted subs? Oh, thank you! Thanks for helping out those kids with the cancer. That's rough. You're making it easier on them. Thank you. Let's see if this works. Maybe we blew off some of the components and it doesn't work anymore. Yeah, spinning a little faster. It's fast enough to boot. It's a bearing thing. I'll take it. I'll take it. Part of me feels like I should just disconnect this Wi-Fi. I don't need it. And those antennas are quite annoying because you have to get them in just the right spot. Oh, I think it goes this way. Okay, it goes this way. There we go. There we go. It's happy again. Now, how does this go on? Was anyone paying attention? Okay, that looks good. 4 screws in. We haven't even really broken anything yet. That's a surprise. Are any of these different sizes? I think they're all the size. Same size. Okay, they are. They're all the same. Let's get the ducks their audio back. Don't do it too tight because we're gonna have to take it apart again. Because every time we boot this up, we're gonna have to spray off the fan and get it to spin a little. Nah, that's bad to break something. I had a fire in your system. Whoa! Because it was a fried SSD adapter. Oh my. Yeah, we don't want any of that here. So we've got it all back together. It's perfectly fine. Now let's get these back on. Ah, soy funny. Hello. Aw, thank you, Anonymous, for another gift and sub. Thank you. One more screw. That's it. That's it. Yay. Let's find the spot. It's good when there's no more screws left. When there's an extra screw, you're like, I don't know. I don't know where it goes. Guess I gotta take the whole thing apart again. At least they made it so that it was serviceable. There we go. Hopefully that boots back up. So we've got to unplug the monitor. Alright, that's our monitor. We'll unplug that. No, I think, well, was that the monitor? Oh, it was still like showing on. It was draining out its power. Alright, so that's the monitor cable. Let's get our mouse and keyboard. Back together. Soon we're gonna have audio at the Ducks. Now I know that I need to work on a backup system for audio. Because it's not automatically booting after it fails. Alright, let's kind of put this back together a little bit. We don't need it super long. Something like that. That's probably good. That looks good. Ah, Raspberry Pi. I could. This potentially could work on a Raspberry because it's just Linux that I'm running. I'm running Ubuntu. But I find the problem might be in the USB support. So it's nice that the mixer just plugs in USB wise and can pull the audio that way. So I just don't know. I mean, the Raspberry Pi, it's always seemed a little bit like in between a microprocessor and something like this. And so for like an application like where we're doing the audio, it doesn't need any I/O. I kind of like this. But then when it's like, okay, I need a microprocessor like to turn things on and off, I like to go to the other end of the spectrum and use the ESP8266 because it's got built-in Wi-Fi and you can use all the same. It's Arduino stuff, so it like I rarely find an opportunity where I'm like, oh, I should use a Raspberry Pi here. So, they are getting better. You get up to 8 USB hub adapter. 1, 2 USB ports. It's got it built in. No adapters. And it was free because I like I had it sitting around. Just like I have this one sitting around. Yes, and yes, it does have Ethernet. That's a big plus. But I think a lot of the Arduinos have Ethernet too. So you got me. You got me. It doesn't need a fan. Oh, and that's all the trouble today. Ah, I should have got a Raspberry Pi. All right, let's get this plugged back in. Say goodbye to the barn. Let's go turn off these lights. Cool cases. Water resistant. What? An aluminum case? Oh, we've got to put this away first. Yeah, maybe you're convincing me. A nice fancy case, that might actually be cool. Maybe I'm gonna change. I should sit down and do it. I should test the Raspberry Pi. How does this thing go back? So this is a shop vac that also can work as a super I don't know which way. Does it go this way? Maybe it goes this way. There we go. And then let's get this cord back on. So I should try the Raspberry Pi to see if the audio, if I could get it to work. I should do some research and see. I might have to compile some of the programs, which I probably ended up doing anyways. Because the packages, not a lot of the packages are pre-compiled. We got to turn off the light, and the light switch is over here. Sheep are just fine. Yeah, the sheep are fine. They are. I just am just standing up the ducks, and we're just finishing up that, and then we're gonna go to the sheep. So, sheep are next. So again, another thing it's gonna disconnect the Wi-Fi, but it should just connect back up. Over by the pond Wi-Fi. So hang on. We've got to roam. This is what the roaming experience would be if I set up multiple access points. Gotta turn around. Using four-wheel drive today, it's a bit muddy. Beep, 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 beep. Watch out behind us. We don't know how to drive. All right, let's get going. Kind of a pretty day today. Not bad.